Have you ever wondered how fragile fruits like cherries, oranges, or pineapple slices can transform into chewy, jewel-like candies that last for months on end without spoiling? In a world where fresh fruit spoils in less than a week, factories across the globe manage to produce more than 200,000 tons of candied fruit each year. That's an incredible figure for something so delicate, and it's all made possible thanks to sugar, an ingredient with the power to preserve and transform. This fascinating process of turning perishable fruit into a treat that can stay shelf-stable for a year or more is not just a story of food technology, but one of history, culture, and nostalgia that continues to resonate with families across America every holiday season. Candied fruit isn't just a modern invention. The idea of preserving fruit in sweetness goes back centuries, all the way to the Byzantine Empire, when cooks used honey to coat and protect fruit from decay. By the 1500s, sugar from the booming trade routes replaced honey, making these preserved fruits even sweeter, more flavorful, and far longer lasting. Across Europe, this new treat became woven into the fabric of celebrations. In Italy, candied citron became essential for panettone, the beloved Christmas bread. In France, candied orange peel added brightness to holiday cakes. When immigrants carried these traditions to America, candied fruits found a new home inside holiday fruitcakes, breads, and festive desserts. To this day, the vibrant reds of candied cherries and the glowing gold of candied pineapples still recall kitchens filled with joy, family gatherings, and the unmistakable taste of tradition. The journey of candied fruit begins long before the sugar vat. It starts in the orchards, where farmers carefully select fruits resilient enough to withstand both heat and syrup. Cherries, pineapples, oranges, citrus peels, kiwis, and even ginger are among the most common candidates. Modern harvesting is no longer done by hand alone. Specialized machines clamp onto tree trunks and shake them with powerful hydraulic arms, sending thousands of vibrations per minute through the branches until ripe fruit rains down into padded catching frames. These cushions protect the delicate skin of the fruit, preventing bruising. Some machines go even further, using sweeping conveyor arms to gather the harvest and funnel it into bins. A single harvester can collect as much as 80,000 pounds of citrus in a single day, work that would take dozens of human pickers far longer to achieve. Time is critical. Once harvested, the fruit is rushed onto trucks and transported to factories, often within just a few hours. Freshness is the key to quality candied fruit. At the plant, the fruit undergoes its first transformation, cleaning. Tons of produce are released into massive stainless steel basins filled with flowing water. Gentle paddles stir the fruit, keeping it in constant motion so dirt, leaves, and debris rise to the surface and wash away. After soaking, powerful spray nozzles rinse every piece with water pressurized at about 60 pounds per square inch, strong enough to strip away sticky sap or pesticide residue without damaging the delicate fruit skins. Then come the rotary brushes, spinning bristles that scrub, polish, and leave the fruit looking glossy and clean. By the end of this step, each cherry or slice of pineapple is not only sparkling but also food safe, ready for the precise steps to come. Next comes sorting, where technology takes over. Automated machines equipped with optical sensors scan each fruit under bright LED light at a speed of up to 10 pieces per second. These sensors instantly evaluate size, shape, and color, while small air jets blow away any fruit that fails to meet the strict standards. Only the most uniform, blemish-free pieces make it through to the next stage. After sorting, industrial knives peel skins, remove seeds or cores, and slice fruits into wedges or rings at blinding speeds, sometimes up to 200 rotations per minute. Citrus peels, however, require an additional treatment. To prepare them for candying, they are soaked in salt water or blanched in hot baths reaching 90 degrees Celsius, then cooled rapidly. This removes bitterness, softens the peel, and locks in its natural fragrance. At this point, the fruit is ready for the most critical step, candying. In massive stainless steel vats, slices are submerged in hot syrup made from cane sugar or glucose. Each vat can hold up to 500 liters of syrup, glistening and thick with sweetness. To draw water out of the fruit while replacing it with sugar, vacuum pumps lower the pressure to around 0.8 bar. Over the course of 12 to 48 hours, the syrup gradually penetrates the fruit in cycles, raising its sugar concentration until it reaches between 65 and 75%. This slow infusion prevents the fruit from collapsing and ensures it keeps both its texture and shape. Workers stir the batches gently with oversized steel spoons, making sure pieces don't stick together. When the fruit is ready, they scoop it out in 10-kilogram portions using slotted spoons that let the syrup drain back into the vat for reuse. The semi-candied fruit is then laid out on perforated trays. Here the human touch once again proves essential. Workers carefully flip each slice with tongs or forks, ensuring the syrup doesn't pool unevenly on one side. This patient, repetitive task makes a huge difference. It's what gives candied fruit its smooth, glossy finish rather than a sticky, lopsided coating. Once evenly spread, the trays are stacked onto wheeled racks and pushed into large industrial ovens. Inside, warm air circulates steadily at about 55 degrees Celsius. This gentle drying process lasts for several hours, slowly drawing out the remaining moisture while locking in flavor and texture. By the time the trays roll out, the fruit has been transformed into chewy, vibrant, candy-like pieces that can stay shelf-stable for a year or more. From here, the process slows down again, focusing on presentation. Workers scoop the jewel-like fruits into jars or containers. Some are packed piece by piece with incredible care, highlighting uniform size and color for premium gift boxes. Others are layered into trays for bulk packaging, with just enough pressure applied to keep the sugar coating intact. Each lid is pressed closed by hand and every movement, scooping, adjusting, sealing, is deliberate. Finally, the finished products are slid into sturdy cardboard cartons, ready for shipment to supermarkets, bakeries, and specialty shops across the country. What started as fresh fruit picked in an orchard now gleams like edible gems on store shelves, ready to be enjoyed in cakes, pastries, or simply as a sweet snack. But as timeless as candied fruit may be, it shares the spotlight with another confection that feels deeply American: marshmallows. While candied fruit connects us to European traditions and family holiday baking, marshmallows remind us of summer campfires, hot cocoa on cold nights, and Rice Krispies treats in kitchens across the country. According to the National Confectioners Association, Americans consume over 90 million pounds of marshmallows each year, making it one of the most beloved sweets in the U.S. The marshmallow story begins much earlier than most people realize. In ancient Egypt, priests harvested the sap of the mallow plant, mixing it with honey to create ceremonial sweets reserved for gods and royalty. Fast forward to the 19th century and French confectioners replaced the sap with gelatin, which was far easier to work with and produced a fluffier, more stable product. This marked the birth of the modern marshmallow. By the early 20th century, marshmallows had crossed the Atlantic and begun to win American hearts. By mid-century they were everywhere, floating in mugs of hot chocolate, melted into s'mores or whipped into homemade treats. In today's factories, marshmallow production is as much science as it is art. It begins with gelatin, which can come in sheet form or powdered. Instead of being hydrated separately, the gelatin goes directly into massive stainless steel kettles, where hot sugar syrup, corn syrup, and a touch of vanilla are already cooking. Steam jackets heat the mixture to about 118 degrees Celsius, also known as the softball stage in candy making. At this point, the syrup is thick enough to set but still pliable enough to trap air. What happens next is crucial. High-speed mixers whip the syrup with precision, forcing air into the mixture until it expands into the light, fluffy texture we all recognize. This aeration process has to be carefully controlled. Too little air and the marshmallows will be dense and chewy, too much and they'll collapse. Once the texture is perfect, the marshmallow cream is pumped through long pipes and extruded into continuous ropes. These ropes are then dusted with a fine layer of cornstarch and powdered sugar to prevent sticking. Automated cutters slice the ropes into uniform pillows at lightning speed, while conveyor belts carry them into drying chambers. There, the marshmallows are allowed to rest, firming up just enough to hold their shape while retaining their signature bounce. Finally, they're packaged, sometimes in bulk bags for campfire nights, other times in smaller packs destined for hot cocoa bars or baking aisles. Both candied fruit and marshmallows reveal something profound about the way we enjoy sweets. On one hand, we have a process rooted in ancient traditions, connecting us to history, culture, and family celebrations. On the other, we have a candy born of innovation, mass production, and the modern American sweet tooth. Yet both share the same magic: simple ingredients transformed through patience, science, and craftsmanship into foods that spark joy, carry memories, and bring people together. Whether it's the bright shine of candied cherries in a holiday fruitcake or the soft puff of a marshmallow roasted over an open flame, these confections remind us that the sweetest things in life are often the ones we've carried with us for generations. Have you ever unwrapped a fluffy marshmallow or crunched into a glossy jelly bean and wondered how something so small, so playful, could come from such a massive and complex process? Behind every bag of candy stacked neatly on store shelves lies an entire world of machines, recipes, and precision engineering. What looks like a simple sweet treat is in fact the result of centuries of tradition combined with modern factory technology. Millions of Americans reach for marshmallows to top hot cocoa in the winter or roast over campfires in the summer, while jelly beans flood stores every spring as part of Easter celebrations. They may feel effortless to eat, but their journey from sugar and syrup to the colorful treats we love is nothing short of fascinating. Today we're stepping behind the factory doors to discover the hidden process of making two of America's favorite candies, marshmallows and jelly beans. By the end, you'll never look at your favorite snack the same way again. The story of the marshmallow begins not with machines but with science. Syrup heated to the right temperature reaches a point where sugar transforms into a thick, glossy liquid. At this exact moment, hydrated gelatin is introduced. Gelatin is the binding force of marshmallows, the ingredient that transforms hot sugar syrup into something elastic and bouncy. Inside high-speed mixers, stainless steel blades whirl at up to 1,500 revolutions per minute, folding the gelatin into the syrup until they are one smooth mass. To create the marshmallow's signature fluffiness, air is injected directly into the mixture under pressure. Thousands of microscopic bubbles are trapped by the gelatin, creating that soft, cloud-like texture we know so well. The surprising truth? Nearly half of a marshmallow is made of nothing but air. That invisible ingredient gives each piece its resilience, allowing it to bounce back when you press it between your fingers and melt gently in your mouth when you take a bite. Once the mixture has the perfect airy consistency, it's time to shape it. Some factories use giant extruders that push the fluffy foam through nozzles, forming endless ribbons of marshmallow that stretch like sugary highways. To keep the sticky mass under control, every surface is dusted with powdered sugar or cornstarch. Conveyor belts carry the marshmallow forward, while high-speed blades slice the ribbons into cubes at a rate of nearly 300 cuts per minute. Other lines use depositing machines that squirt the mixture directly into molds, creating twists, pillows, or fun seasonal shapes. What began as a sticky foam just moments ago now looks like neat rows of candies moving steadily toward the packaging line. Packaging is as efficient as the cooking. Automated weighers drop precise amounts into plastic bags, while heat-sealing machines close each pouch in less than a second. By the end of the day, a single plant can produce more than 1 million marshmallows, enough to supply supermarkets, convenience stores, and campgrounds all across the country. From syrup and gelatin to fluffy cubes of sweetness, marshmallows are an engineering marvel as much as they are a treat. They are simple to enjoy, but their journey is powered by science, timing, and an enormous scale of production. As sweet as marshmallows are, they are only the beginning. Let's turn our attention to a candy that's even more colorful and just as iconic, the jelly bean. Every year, Americans consume more than 16 billion jelly beans. To put that in perspective, if you line them up end to end, they would circle the earth almost 5 times. Their popularity peaks every spring during Easter, but jelly beans are enjoyed year-round and are now available in thousands of flavors, ranging from classics like cherry and lemon to wild cards like toasted marshmallow and buttered popcorn. Yet behind each tiny candy is a process that takes days to complete, proving that something small can require an enormous effort. The origins of jelly beans can be traced back to the late 1800s, when American confectioners experimented with sugar coating techniques borrowed from candies like Turkish Delight. By the 1930s, jelly beans had become linked to Easter traditions, their egg-like shape making them a natural fit for holiday baskets and backyard hunts. Today, their status as a cultural icon is undisputed, but the method of making them has remained surprisingly consistent, even as technology advanced. It all starts with corn syrup, sugar, and starch poured into massive kettles. Heated to nearly 150 degrees Celsius, the mixture transforms into a thick, molten syrup. Mechanical paddles churn constantly to prevent burning, ensuring that the flavor stays sweet rather than bitter. At full production, a single kettle can hold over 1,000 liters of syrup, enough to begin thousands of jelly beans at once. This hot syrup is then transported to molding machines, where trays filled with cornstarch contain tiny cavities. Each cavity acts like a mold, holding a drop of syrup in place as it cools and sets into the chewy centers that form the heart of every jelly bean. Hours later, once the centers are stable, workers sift away the cornstarch, leaving behind pale, unremarkable nuggets. At this stage, the beans don't look much like candy, but that's about to change. The chewy centers are transferred to enormous copper pans that rotate slowly, beginning the layering process. Workers add thin coats of sugar syrup, allowing each one to dry before the next is applied. This continues hundreds of times, gradually building a hard, protective shell around each bean. On average, a single jelly bean is covered with more than 200 delicate layers of sugar, a level of patience and precision most people never imagine when they pop one into their mouth. Once the shells are in place, the real magic happens. Liquid dyes and natural flavorings are added into the tumbling pans, ensuring that every bean takes on its bright color and distinct taste. To lock in the coating, the beans are warmed under heat lamps set at around 40 degrees Celsius, which helps the color dry evenly. To finish, workers dust the beans with fine sugar and finally polish them with a small amount of carnauba wax. The wax gives them their glossy shine, making each jelly bean sparkle as though it were polished by hand. At this point, the beans not only taste sweet but look irresistible. Before they are ready for shelves, quality control steps in. Automated sorting machines use optical scanners to detect misshapen beans, removing anything that doesn't meet the standard. Food-grade inkjet printers add tiny logos or designs onto the shells, capable of printing over 1,000 beans per second. Precision weighing machines then measure out exact portions for packaging, ensuring each bag, box, or jar meets strict weight requirements. The entire process is astonishingly fast. Filling takes less than 5 seconds per container, and one line can produce up to 20,000 packages per hour. From there, pallets stacked with hundreds of pounds of candy are shipped to warehouses, then to supermarkets, candy shops, and online retailers across the country. Thanks to airtight packaging, jelly beans can remain fresh and chewy for up to 18 months, meaning the ones you buy for Easter may have started their journey long before spring arrived. What ties marshmallows and jelly beans together, beyond sugar, is the combination of tradition and technology. Both began as simple sweets with roots in old-fashioned candy making, but factories transformed them into icons of American snacking. Whether it's the airy bite of a marshmallow roasted over a campfire or the burst of flavor from a jelly bean grabbed by the handful, these treats carry nostalgia and cultural weight. They remind us of childhood memories, holiday rituals, and moments of joy shared with family and friends. Behind the sweetness is an intricate web of machines, recipes, and craftsmanship that make it all possible. The next time you hold a marshmallow or jelly bean, remember that it's more than a piece of candy. It's a story of science, engineering, and human creativity packed into a single bite. From the invisible air bubbles inside a marshmallow to the 200 sugar layers coating a jelly bean, every detail is a hidden secret of candy factories across America. These are the untold stories of how simple ingredients become extraordinary sweets, fueling traditions, celebrations, and cravings one bite at a time.